Hey guys, it's Fox again from Martial Arts and Philosophy, and today we're going to be discussing cultural relativism. So, cultural relativism is a lot like it sounds. It's the idea that morality is relative to a given culture. So, the basic idea is you could have country X that believes that red should be your favorite color. And you could have culture Y that believes that blue should be your favorite color. And with cultural relativism, both of these nations could be correct within their own culture. So if you were in country X, then red should be your favorite color. And if you were in country Y, blue should be your favorite color. And that's all there is to it. And so this has this kind of warm, fuzzy feeling to it. It allows for cultures to have disagreements on what is morally correct, but it also allows them to be both correct about what is moral. So this is something, I think this view was really popular in the 90s, in the early 2000s. I remember when I went to college, this was kind of the view that came with me from high school, and when I first got into philosophy classes, that's where I started. I thought, before I studied any sort of ethics, that that's the correct view on things. So the first problem is going to be that it eliminates the idea of moral progress. And moral progress is the idea that we've come a long way. That by getting rid of something like slavery, we've done a good thing. Those things can't stand with cultural relativism because you could have country X that still has slavery and still thinks that's a good thing and still has it set up so that women can't vote and that's still a good thing, etc. And since that's how it is in their culture, we have to admit as cultural relativists that that is indeed good within their culture. It's just different from ours. So the problem with this isn't so much that we don't like it, because us just not liking an idea isn't really a good enough argument for us to dismiss cultural relativism. The problem here is that it interferes with our moral intuition. That is, we think that we're doing something right by, for example, abolishing slavery. That is a moral claim that's objective. We're saying that across all cultures, slavery should not exist. And technically, by cultural relativistic standards, we can't really make that claim. At least we can't make it for other cultures outside of our own. But we want to. And so we're butting heads on our moral intuition here. The second problem is kind of attached to the first problem, and that's that it doesn't allow us to judge the most abhorrent of actions. That is, we can't even say that the Nazis killing the Jews was a bad thing, because while we can say we would disallow it in our country, and that it would be bad in our country, we wouldn't be able to judge the Nazis in the Third Reich for doing that. If they had decided as a culture that's something they wanted to do, and they executed, then that's good for them. And so it's good enough for us, at least within their own culture. So this poses a serious problem for obvious reasons. But it also brings up a third problem, which is what even counts as a culture. What if you had a subgroup of Nazis, for instance, that broke off and said, no, we really don't like killing Jews? Would those Nazis then be wrong for not wanting to kill Jews or preventing Jews from being killed? Or have they created their own brand new culture, in which case they're correct within their own subculture? This then brings up this awkward development of what counts as a culture, how many people do you need, and where do you draw the line, which seems almost impossible to do. I mean, if you think about it, a culture could be one person. And if a culture is one person and their beliefs, then we've kind of collapsed into either subjectivism or we've collapsed into nihilism, which nihilism deserves its own segment, so I'm going to talk about that another time. Though I actually think that nihilism has a much stronger case than cultural relativism does. So what do you guys think? Are these arguments enough to refute cultural relativism as a theory? Or are you still a strong proponent, if you ever were to begin with? Those are kind of my main questions for you this time. Next time we'll move on to some other ethical theories. I'd like to get through the major ones so that we can at least compare and contrast some of the things that we've talked about and maybe come to some sort of conclusion about which one is the best to accept. And just to give you an idea, some of the other ones are utilitarianism, Kantianism, social contract theory, virtue ethics, and moral pluralism. I'm also going to recommend these two books. Moral Theory and Introduction by Mark Timmons, and Whatever Happened to Good and Evil, and this one is by Russ, Shafer-Landau. These are fantastic introductions on morality, and will kind of give you a good overview of the different subjects from another philosopher's point of view. So, take a look at that, ponder my question, and until next time, I'm looking forward to seeing your comments. Also, please, as always, subscribe to our channel and share us on Facebook so we can get more philosophical viewpoints on our channel.